All right, it is the moment you have all been waiting for when we reveal the official list of rising winners and losers.
That's right.
Week.
All right, official winner from my end is Wall Street. Very sad to say it.
Once
I was
again.
inspired by these people have been winning for a long time. I was inspired to do this because of the not one but two stories from CNBC and the Wall Street Journal about how Wall Street breathes a sigh of relief under Kamala Harris as their vice presidential pick. They are ecstatic. Joe Biden right now has raised $48 million in the 48 hours since he announced Kamala Harris as his vice presidential pick. No yet term on how exactly that's distributed amongst small donors.
Saagar, I thought she was the most progressive senator.
That's what
confused.
I keep hearing that. It's crazy. I mean, I would say this to the Trump campaign, and I would say this to John Favreau of Pod Save America, who says she's the most liberal senator. What are progressives complaining about? Again, listen to the people who are your enemies. They will always tell you the truth because they're so shameless. Wall Street breathes a sigh of relief. Front page of the Wall Street Journal. They're all good with Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
The way Joe Biden tested out his candidates for VP was by headlining fundraisers and being like, oh, she raised the most. We're good.
Here
folks.
we go.
It's incredible. I mean, it's just the most shameless thing that's possible. And look, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I think Wall Street's going to win under a Trump second term, too. I wish they wouldn't, but Trump has chosen to go the way that he has, much to my chagrin. And so, yeah, they're the unabashed winners. We just covered a story here this morning about how upper middle class wealth has actually gone up by 2% in the middle of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, have not suffered whatsoever. Stock prices are actually at a historic high for several companies. So I think they're probably charging higher fees. The mortgage-backed securities are great because home prices higher than ever. You got two candidates who you absolutely are fine with either way. Probably prefer Biden just for a little bit more stability in life. So congratulations, guys. I mean,
Yeah, there you go. Al, as usual, no matter who wins this fall, they're going to be on the winning end of that. And my winner is somewhat related, Obama.
He speaks to Wall Street.
Similar reasons, right? I mean, he was the original Democratic Wall Street candidate. Actually, right. I mean, Bill Clinton kind of pioneered it, but they went all in for this guy, right? So with Kamala Harris, he really has a chance to cement his legacy. Now, you might think that I view that as a good thing, but I very much do not. But think about the fact that, look, he's the person that picked Hillary Clinton to be the nominee. It didn't work out so well. He's the person that picked Joe Biden. I mean, he really, from the reporting, he's the one that moved the chess pieces behind the scenes, gets Pete to drop down, Amy, Kamala dropped down earlier, gets it all lined up. They all endorsed Joe. And so this thing, which looked very much like it was going in a different direction, Obama behind the scenes is able to get his guy. And I very much see his hand also in the Kamala Harris pick ultimately. Why this is so troubling for the left is because it really is an attempt to cement that Clinton-Obama neoliberal project for decades to come. Right? Any hope of potentially, if Biden doesn't run for a second term, any hope of potentially primarying his vice presidential pick, it's going to be much harder with Kamala Harris. And we're already seeing the way that the media and lots of, influential voices online and pundits and whatever, you can't criticize her.
Yes.
Right. And
that's
if you
sexist,
do,
that's racist,
it's sexist and racist. And then also, though, they have a ready-made excuse for if they lose, which I think very much is possible. Once again, it will be because the nation is too sexist to accept her. So anyway, I think Obama has very much secured his potential neoliberal project here for a while to come. On the loser side, who do you have?
Okay, so my loser this week, so here's what we've got. It is MSNBC. All right, so the reason that I'm saying this is that
so sad for them.
It's looking like Biden and Kamala could win. I'm not saying it's the best, but their decision to double down on Nicole Wallace, 2-hour block. Chuck Todd is gone. Not that he was all that great, in the first place.
What are you talking about? He's out there appealing to the kids on digital.
That's right. Yeah. If you're paying for MSNBC digital for Chuck Todd, I got someone else to sell you. But overall, I think what's going to happen, if this is, if Biden wins, which at this current moment looks likely, although not, it's not entirely possible that Trump pulls it off, is that I don't see how they're able to survive. And let's say even again, if Trump does win a second term, in both cases, they're not well equipped because so much of it is outrage. Trump is an aberration. Trump is, terrible. Russiagate, never Trumpism, and all of that. What are they going to do if he gets reelected by the American people a second time? I mean, they could try Russiagate 2.0. I don't think it would work at this point, right? I mean, after being validated by the American people, I kind of remember this under the Bush second term. I mean, a lot of people had it deflated. They're like, wow, he got reelected. I mean, eventually Iraq criticism and all that came a bigger thing later on. But in that 2004, 2005 period, people had to grapple with the fact that someone did get reelected. And then under Biden, what are they going to do? It's going to be so boring.
Yeah.
Second term Obama cable news 2014 before the Republican primary started. Terrible. I mean, CNN was MH370. I don't even know what MSNBC was.
I was there,
then,
I can
right?
tell you.
Yeah, I mean, what were they covering?
The ratings were really low. That's what's going on.
Right.
No, I mean, look, I think a Trump administration creates some more possibilities for them.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Yeah. I think that if he were to get reelected, I think that there would be a sort of exhaustion and a desire to just tune it all out, right? I think that's my guess. But there's more potential for outrage and a new conspiracy and whatever, so maybe. But under a Biden administration, your fawning coverage is going to be so boring. Yeah. The interesting fights there will be on the right over the future direction of the party and on the left over the critique of Biden. You can bet that MSNBC is not going to be host to those sorts of conversations. Right. Now, look, I think CNN is going to have trouble too, but both because of their business model, they're less dependent on the ratings. I mean, all of these cable networks actually are less dependent on the ratings than you kind of think. But for MSNBC, they're more dependent. CNN, because of their international brand, because of their cable carry rates, all of those things, they're less susceptible to when the ratings are up or down. But also, they can always go back to plane crashes and that cruise ship situation that they blew up into a big... There's always an appetite or some salacious crime or whatever. They've figured this thing out a little bit better in the past than MSNBC. Fox, I think, if Trump wins, Fox is going to be kind of boring. If Biden wins, obviously they're going to rerun the Obama playbook if he's fundamentally changed. Oh my God, it's horrible, it's the end of the world, whatever. So, and they also are always better positioned because they're kind of the only game in town if you're on the right, whereas there are lots of networks and lots of outlets that are trusted by liberals. So my loser of the week is one Richie Neal. So you'll recall this week began basically with these quote-unquote allegations against Mayor Alex Morse, who is challenging Richie Neal in the primaries of Justice Dem. Alex Morse's progressive Democrat backs Medicare for all, Green New Deal, those sorts of things. And was looking like it was a tough fight, but it was looking like maybe he had some momentum after we've seen other insurgents win, Cori Bush and others. His fundraising was picking up. Some outside groups had come in with good stuff, that anti-corporate monopoly group up with a good ad. So these sort of allegations come out from the college Democrats, and it's looking like, oh my God, this is going to sink his campaign. We had him here on the show. He explained, and we were kind of skeptical of this all to start with, that there was basically nothing to see here. And what he was alleged of doing was matching with people on Tinder and adding them to his Instagram story and having sexual contact with other consensual adults who were not his students, but were students at the university where he was a lecturer. So that was the most sort of of the allegations. So as the week progresses, based on great reporting by Dan Behrens and most of all Ryan Grimm, turns out, surprise, surprise, this is all total orchestrated smear campaign from people who want to work for Richie Neal and get in his good graces. So this all falls apart. And I think maybe ultimately works to Alex Morse's benefit here, because now that the story is completely turned 180 and it looks outrageously orchestrated from forces associated with Neal. So maybe ultimately it helps Alex Morse, and most of all, hopefully, some friggin' people, especially on the left, learn to not jump on every last stupid thing that comes your way.
Yeah, CC Sunrise Movement.
Yeah, DSA too, by the way.
Okay.
Next week on Rising, we'll be talking a lot about the Democratic National Convention. We're also going to have former Bill and Hillary Clinton advisor Richard Goodstein on. We know you guys love him. As always, we'll be following all the latest news about the stimulus and whatever else comes up.
That's right. Make sure you guys don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. And also don't forget to like and share as well. And we will see you guys next week.
Have a fantastic weekend, guys.